Today our topic is how to deal with change the Stoic way. Change is a part of life. It happens all the time, whether we like it or not. Sometimes change is good, like getting a new job or moving to a better place. Other times, change is hard, like losing someone we love or facing a difficult situation. The Stoics, who were ancient philosophers, believed that change is natural, and that we should learn to accept it rather than fight it. They taught that by understanding and accepting change, we can find peace and strength, even in the most challenging times. The Stoics believe that the key to dealing with change is to focus on what we can control and let go of what we cannot control. This idea is simple, but it is not always easy to do. In this speech, we will explore how Stoic philosophy can help us deal with change in a calm and wise way. First, let's talk about why change is so hard for many people. One reason is that we often resist change because it takes us out of our comfort zone. We like things to stay the same because they feel safe and familiar. But the truth is, life is always changing. The weather changes, seasons change, people change, and situations change. The Stoics understood this, and they taught that resisting change is like trying to stop the wind or the rain. It is not only useless, but also exhausting. Instead of resisting change, the Stoics said we should accept it as a natural part of life. They believed that by accepting change, we can stop wasting energy on things we cannot control and focus on what we can do to make the best of the situation. One of the most important Stoic ideas is the distinction between what is in our control and what is not. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "Some things are within our control, and some things are not." This is a powerful idea because it helps us focus on the things we can actually change, instead of worrying about things we cannot change. For example, we cannot control the weather, but we can control how we dress for it. We cannot control what other people say or do, but we can control how we react to them. By focusing on what we can control, we can take action and make progress, even in difficult situations. This is how the Stoics dealt with change by focusing on their own actions, thoughts, and attitudes. Another Stoic idea that can help us deal with change is the practice of negative visualization. This means imagining the worst-case scenario and thinking about how we would handle it. At first, this might sound strange or even depressing, but the Stoics believed it was a way to prepare ourselves for life's challenges. By imagining the worst, we can reduce our fear of it and be ready to face it if it happens. For example, if you are worried about losing your job, you can imagine what you would do if it happened. Maybe you would look for a new job, learn new skills, or cut back on expenses. By thinking about these things in advance, you can feel more prepared and less afraid. This practice does not mean we should expect the worst to happen, but it helps us realize that we can handle it if it does. The Stoics also believed in the importance of perspective. They taught that how we see a situation can make a big difference in how we feel about it. For example, losing a job might seem like a disaster, but it could also be an opportunity to find something better or to try something new. The Stoics believe that we can choose how we see things, even if we cannot change the things themselves. This is why they often talked about focusing on the good in every situation, no matter how small. By shifting our perspective, we can find meaning and purpose even in difficult times. One of the most famous Stoic philosophers, Marcus Aurelius, was a Roman emperor who faced many challenges during his rule. He wrote in his journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This quote reminds us that even when things are out of our control, we can still control our thoughts and reactions. For example, if someone says something unkind to us, we cannot control their words, but we can control how we respond. We can choose to stay calm, to understand their perspective, or to let it go. By focusing on our inner strength, we can stay steady and peaceful, even when the world around us is changing. The Stoics also believed in the importance of living in the present moment. They taught that worrying about the past or the future only causes unnecessary stress. The past is already gone, and the future is not here yet. The only moment we truly have is the present. By focusing on the present, we can make the most of the time we have and take action where it matters. For example, if you are worried about an upcoming test, instead of stressing about it, you can focus on studying right now. By taking small steps in the present, you can prepare for the future without feeling overwhelmed. Another Stoic practice that can help us deal with change is gratitude. The Stoics believe that being thankful for what we have can help us stay positive and resilient, even when things are hard. Gratitude helps us focus on the good in our lives, instead of always wanting more or worrying about what we might lose. For example, if you are going through a tough time, you can still be grateful for your health, your family, or even the small things like a sunny day or a good meal. By practicing gratitude, we can find joy and peace, even in the midst of change. The Stoics also taught that we should not depend on external things for our happiness. They believe that true happiness comes from within, not from money, fame, or other people's opinions. This is an important lesson for dealing with change because external things are always changing. If we depend on them for our happiness, we will always be disappointed. But if we find happiness within ourselves, we can stay strong and content, no matter what happens. For example, if you lose a material possession, you can remind yourself that it is just a thing and that your happiness does not depend on it. By focusing on inner strength and wisdom, we can find lasting peace. Finally, the Stoics believed in the importance of courage and resilience. They taught that life will always have challenges, but we can face them with courage and strength. Instead of avoiding difficulties, we should embrace them as opportunities to grow and learn. The Stoics believe that every challenge is a test of our character and a chance to become stronger. For example, if you are facing a difficult situation, you can see it as a chance to practice patience, kindness, or perseverance. By facing challenges with courage, we can grow and become better versions of ourselves. In conclusion, dealing with change the Stoic way means accepting it as a natural part of life, focusing on what we can control, and letting go of what we cannot control. It means preparing for challenges, shifting our perspective, living in the present, practicing gratitude, finding inner happiness, and facing difficulties with courage. The Stoics believe that by following these principles, we can find peace and strength, even in the midst of change. Change is not always easy, but with the wisdom of Stoicism, we can learn to navigate it with grace and resilience. Remember, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realizes this, and you will find strength,